I don't gotta hurt you, God will. You and your feeling for no reason, bro. You built your own hatred off looking at me. What's wrong with you? You can't stop what God built, bro.
Hey you guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video. My name is Tamaria and I go by Tamaria Lakeo on my social media platforms. And today we are just getting into another video real quick, real fast. I know a lot of people talk about the concept of how to find or hear from God, right? And I know I struggle with that concept a lot in my spiritual walk, and I'd be like, what the hell? Like, does God have a unique voice? Does he have a voice that is recognizable by every single person, right? Like everybody will hear this voice and be like, okay, yeah, this is God, because God's voice is, the same. But it's like God doesn't speak. He speaks to the world, but through the people that are in the world. So whatever you hear from conversations, from social media, from your friends, from your family, from school, from work or whatever, and you start to pick up on these little things that people are saying, and it's just like, it's making you think, and it's making it sit within yourself. It's like that's really how you hear from God. God's voice is most likely, I'm just going to say from my experience, going to be just your thought process, right? Whatever your thoughts sound like, whatever is going on in your head and your thoughts, whenever you're calculating or planning, you have these thoughts that are answering questions for you, right? And so essentially what I've learned is when I can listen to my thoughts and plan, like God gives me the answers in me, right? Like, yes, sometimes God will absolutely use people out here in this motherfucking world to be like, okay, they just said something that made me want to sit with myself. They just said something to make me want to meditate on a particular situation or a person or a thing, right? They just said something that made me feel goosebumps, right? So I'm going to sit with myself, and then whatever conclusion I come to, right, between me and myself and my thoughts is how I am essentially building a relationship with God, right? And the more I sit with myself and my thoughts, the more my relationship with God grows. And then before you know it, we have these expanding thoughts and ideas that help us to go through life in a certain way. You know what I'm saying? Moving how we didn't move before our relationship with God was maybe, a little bit smaller, right? But we've been working on listening to our thoughts and listening to God within us. And, the signs and the symbols within the world, right? The things that catch our eye and our attention, the things that we can hear, not only with our physical ears, but with our spiritual ear, right? So we listen. And that's how you hear from God. Or at least that's how I've learned. Because in the Bible, it says a man is who he thinks he is, right? A man is who he thinks he is. And God said he created us in the image of his likeness, right? If a man is who he thinks he is, whatever thoughts and relationships that you're building with yourself, you're building it either with the God of good or the God of not good, the God of evil, Satan, the devil, whatever you want to call it, lower entities, low energy, low vibrations, right? If you're not wanting to be good, then essentially you are choosing to either, you know what I'm saying, maybe you're a little bit good and a little bit bad, right? I ain't gonna lie, I have stories about that too. But listen, you're choosing, right? And the more energy that you, of course, put into one part of expanding and creating yourself, creating your world, creating your thought processes, creating your emotions, like whatever energy you're putting into that, like whatever you're expanding it, whether, you know what I'm saying, like you're watching something, reading materials, listening to something, like you're either expanding your relationship with yourself and with God in one direction or the other, right? You're either going up or you're going down. You're going up or you're going down. You're left and you're going right? Whichever way, right, that you're choosing to pour into yourself and into your relationship with God is going to reflect. So I feel like a lot of us in the world in 2024, and with all the things that are going on with celebrities, we're kind of seeing like where they've decided to pour their energy into. And I feel like I was getting into something in my previous video that I didn't quite touch on as much as I wanted to when I said that I had found the wrong relationship with the wrong person and life ended up beating me up, I was essentially like asking, like, where do these people go when they want to, you know what I'm saying, sell their soul, right? Because, you know, girl needed some coins, right? Needed some coins, and I was just like, okay, what are we finna do? And then I ended up in this bad situation because I was acting out of a place of desperation, right? Desperately wanting something within the world to fulfill my desires, right? My inner desires. I needed, like, we're all looking for something to make us feel good from within, and the only thing that's going to make us feel good from within is the power and the love and the grace of God, right? So everything else, no matter how much money you got, no matter how many cars you got, no matter how big your house is, no matter how many friends you got, no matter how many subscribers, likes, views, none of that shit's gonna matter when it comes to keeping your internal house full of love, right? And none of that's gonna matter when it comes to keeping your internal house full of love, right? So if you don't learn how to develop your inner house, if you don't know how to keep your house clean, if you don't know how to, you know, make sure that who you're letting into your house energetically, you know, with these relationships that you are experiencing in the world, if you don't be careful with who you let into your house, because your house is your body is the frame, right? And you say, you know, they say that, what's the song? They say a house is a house full of, or some shit like that. But listen, like the house, right? You have the frame of the house, which is your body. And then inside of your body is your spirit, which your spirit is fed just like your body. So when you eat good, your body look good. And when you eat good for your spirit looks good, right? Your spirit look good. You look good because you got that glow that's happening from the inside out, right? You know what I'm saying? For the inside of the house got the lights on. It's not dark on the inside of the house. So your body, right? The frame of your house is going to have a little bit, you're just going to have a glow. Now, don't get it twisted. Some people glow on the outside and then there's nothing on the inside. And you gotta be careful because you gotta be, because some people will glow on the outside and there'll be nothing on the inside, right? So you have to learn how to look real good at what's going on around you. But listen, so as you're, you know, cleaning up your house, making sure that the practices and the routines, and with the practices and the routines, I mean, making sure that you're feeding yourself thoughts that are godlike, that are going to put you in godlike energy and godlike dimensions and godlike realms, so that you can, you know what I'm saying, learn and develop your relationship with God, so that you can see God in everything and in everybody, right? Because everybody has the relationship with God directly. You know what I'm saying? The goodest of the God or the devil of the God, right? Like when I say the good and the bad and the evil, like sometimes that correlation just, it's kind of weird to me because I'm still like getting spiritual downloads and I'm still learning. Like I'm not here to tell anybody that I'm 100% like I'm still learning on the journey. Like I don't know everything yet. I know a lot, but I don't know everything, and I'm still learning even at this big grown age. I'm still learning, right? At this big grown age, I'm still learning. And it's like, whew, the journey, it keeps going, right? So I just know that, you know, choices, they weigh heavy, right? The choice to do what's right, or the choice to, you know, try to sneak, you know what I'm saying? Try to sneak around, thinking like, oh, I'm getting away with something by doing something in the dark that nobody may know. But one thing about it is, even if you do it in the dark and nobody sees you, and this reality and this physical world that we're living in, God gonna see you. God gonna see what you did. God is gonna hear what you heard, right? And it's like, you may want to sit and plan a revenge for someone for a way that they hurt you, right? But you really got to learn to forgive yourself for even being in a situation to where someone could hurt you, right? Like, what made you even get so close, you know what I'm saying, to someone apart from God, to where they could put a pain so deep into your heart, into your spirit, to where you feel like you gotta go in the dark and start doing stuff to get these people back, right? Because God's gonna see you, right? And then you may be unexposed for a while, but then God is gonna expose you. So while you're listening to God, like, some things that I do to listen to God in order to hear God is just like, right now I'm in silence. And when I first started to sit in silence, it was uncomfortable. It wasn't the most comfortable thing in the world to do. It's like, what? To sit by yourself isn't comfortable? Why not? Because your thoughts are going to race. And when they race, you're going to start paying attention to them. If you're sitting in silence, right? You're undistracted in silence, right? You're going to start to hear them thoughts, and you're going to start to hear yourself, and you're going to start to see yourself. And when you start doing that, then you have to start making, so you start to hear your thoughts, and you start to be like, okay, so my thought process is like this because of, choices, decisions that I've made. How can I reevaluate, rearrange my thoughts, right? So that they can start to move more towards, the good. Because we all want to, well, I can't say we all, but I personally want to live in an energy of being the best version of myself, not the worst version of myself. I don't want to show up as the best version of myself for people. No offense, you guys, but I want to show up for the best and highest version of myself for God. And it's like, why? Because of all of the things that he's brought me through, all of the things that I've been through, and I survived, and I can look back in my mind and be like, that was God that saved me, as I'm cultivating this relationship with him through experiences, thoughts, and emotions that I have on my journey in life. And then I'm like, how the fuck did I make it out of that alive, right? It was God. Not me. Not the church. Not the family. Not the friend. Not the husband who's supposed to be the head. But it was God. So as I put those thoughts together, and I think about my experience in this physical world versus the spiritual world, and I try to balance it out, right? I have to cultivate my thoughts to where I want to be open and honest with who I am and what I've done, where I've been. But God is, he's going to put me where I need to be every single time. So I just give thanks, and I give grace, or I just give thanks and I give honor to the Most High, not the Most Low, but I give thanks and honor to the Most High, for allowing me to see life, how I've seen it, right? Like, through all of, the beginning up until now, right? I just thank God for even allowing me to have, my lens cleanse, right? Clean these eyes up, God. Clean it up. So that I can see the world, and I can see the people the way that you need me to see them, so I can show up how I need to show up, basically. Okay, so tips on how you can sit with yourself. Like, basically just sitting with yourself and, like, connecting with God is just disconnecting from everything else. You disconnect from the phone, from the TV, from the game, from sometimes work, from people, from family, from friends, from as much as you can disconnect with, in order for you to still, of course, live your life functionally, right? You still want to be able to function, but you want to have these moments, right? That's why people will be like, okay, when you wake up first thing in the morning, you need to do is just go ahead and pray, right? Thank God for what it is that, you know what I'm saying, you're about to do today and accomplish for the day. And, you know what I'm saying, like, wake up and set your intentions for yourself, for your life, for the day. You want to wake up and early, first thing in the morning. If you can't find a moment to just sit still and be with God throughout the day, then you have to prioritize it. You know what I'm saying? Wake up early in the morning, stay up a little bit late. But you have to be able to sit in silence. You have to be able to sit in that silence. No phone, no music, no drugs, no sex, no TV, no magazines. And if you're going to take a book, it needs to probably be something that's going to edify your soul, right? But even then, you still need those moments to where it's just you by yourself, just you and God, sitting in silence. That's when you hear people talk about a lot about meditating. You want to meditate, right? And in this meditative state, you become connected with yourself and you become connected with God, and you start to create these thoughts and these concepts, and you start to structure the way you think, the way you feel, the way you speak, because God will start to pour into you by the moments that you guys spend alone, right? Your alone time. So the relationship with God, you have to put that time and that energy into it, just like you put that time and that energy into anything and anybody that you wish to have great experiences with, right? You can't just, some people is okay with talking to God once a year. Some people are all right with that kind of ride, that kind of walk. And I'm not saying that you have to do it how I do it. If I say I do it every day, 40,000 times a day. Like, I'm not saying you have to do that. I'm saying you have to get comfortable with knowing that you are in communion and communicating from your higher self so that you can hear God however you need to hear God. But that's it, you guys. Invitation always open. God's just waiting on you to accept it, right? Are you gonna come to the side? Are you gonna stay where you at? Or you just gonna sit somewhere in the middle? It's up to you. I'll see you guys. Oh, I wanted to give you guys tips.